An NBC Sports Golf Channel analyst joining us from the airport in Dublin. Let me start with that, Notah. Would you rather have Ricky Fowler's career or Shane Lowry's?
It's always been a pretty simple decision for me. I'd rather have Shane Lowry's career at this point. I feel like most every player growing up dreams about winning the biggest tournaments. And if you grow up in Great Britain and Ireland or Europe, you dream about the Open Championship. And what we saw this week was magical. It was fitting. And when you find a player that everybody can basically get behind because he's such a good dude, it's easier to root for him, and he walks away with the big prize. So I definitely take a major over a lot of money and a lot of popularity.
More impressive what he did yesterday in those conditions or what he did on Saturday to put him in a position where he could basically coast on Sunday?
Well, I think the third round 63 will probably get the majority of the attention. But I think the work that he put in yesterday, I was out there. I started out with Dustin Johnson's group for about 5 or 6 holes, and then I fell back and covered Fowler from start to finish. And that weather was dreadful. I mean, there was a double or triple bogey waiting around every corner. The rough was just so high, and it was just an extremely difficult round to just make a par in. If you look at the last 12 groups that teed off, so 24 players, not one player broke par. The best player was Tony Finau that shot even par. So it tells you that the guys that were playing the best, that are some of the best players in the world, could not go out there and beat the golf course on that particular day. It was so tough.
Yeah, I tried to tell people that I thought Sunday, what he did yesterday was more impressive than Saturday because those conditions, if you're chasing somebody with a big lead, you're just hoping the weather's not good because you're hoping that maybe they run into some trouble. And the way he navigated that, but a lot of this is almost like Augusta. When you play these courses in Europe, nothing prepares you for playing a course, the Open Championship when you're on these link-style courses. You can play in inclement weather, but it's local knowledge certainly plays a large role. How much do you think that helped some of these guys we saw at the top of the leaderboard?
Well, Shane in particular, I mean, he didn't seem to be affected by the weather. I mean, it's one thing to prepare for it and sort of be gritty and tough. I mean, like a guy like Fowler, who has proven to play well in inclement weather.
Uh-oh. Notah, you there? Yeah, we'll see if we can. I'm waiting for Fritzy to say, I wish he had a better phone line. Yeah.
Hey, nice. It's early on a Monday. Good job.
Well, I was waiting. Well, Fritzy was trying to track down Notah. Yes, McLeod.
So Ricky Fowler's a good bad weather player. Another point for Ricky Fowler in our debate. By the way, tweets are coming in fast and heavy on Ricky versus Shane Lowry.
I know.
A lot of Ricky fans.
Yes, Ricky's very popular. I would rather be Ricky Fowler than Shane Lowry, but I can identify with Shane Lowry. All right, Notah is back with us. You were saying, Notah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, before we were rudely interrupted. As far as, playing in those conditions, and you can't simulate those, so he seemed to be pretty comfortable. What is the worst part about playing in those conditions?
Club selection and shot selection. I mean, it's a completely different game. You can't aim for a lot of the hole locations. I mean, you have to play away from them. You have to play off slopes. You have to take into consideration lines that you didn't necessarily practice for. So it's a constant struggle just to pull the right club and to keep the ball out of the wind and visually be able to see a ball running up from 40 or 50 yards short of the green. Those are the players that handled it the best. And it's just a tough thing to pivot from in terms of from American golf to link style golf. And not everybody's able to make that transition. But if you grow up with it, like Shane did, inclement weather, links golf, he went out there and he proved that he was ready and up for the task.
Talking to Notah Begay, NBC Sports Golf Channel analyst, good buddy of Tiger Woods, which leads me to Tiger saying that maybe Father Time had caught up with him. Did Father Time catch up with him from April and then got him in July? Like, what did you see or not see from Tiger this week, Notah?
Well, it was always going to be a tough week here. This tournament will probably be the toughest one to win in terms of his physical preparation because it's always cold here. Yeah. I mean, a warm day is 65 degrees, and anybody that's ever had any kind of back ailment or surgery knows that when it's cold, your back doesn't feel good. And so I think you saw that in the opening round. I was out watching him hit balls in the rainy weather Wednesday prior to the first round, and it was tough mobility, and it's to be expected. Now, that's going to change when you see him come back in the playoffs, where he gets back to the U.S. It starts to get hot and humid. We're going through a heat wave right now, and anybody that has any sort of low back problem like myself that I struggle with looks forward to the hot and humid temperatures because your body moves faster. So I think we'll see better things from him these last 3 events of the year. Yeah,
Nick Faldo said that, I think the first day, the opening round, where he said, this isn't a place where he expected Tiger to do well, because if it was 85, 90 degrees, then, he would be loose, and he wouldn't get loose over there. And he thought that would, his back would probably be an issue. When you look at this year's golf, I mean, this was Brooks Koepka's year. How would you compare this with other great years that you've been around of or part of?
Well, just by the numbers and what he had the ability to do, he's one of a handful of golfers that had a chance to, finish in the top 5 in all 4 majors through the year. I think that list was like 5 or 6 players long. He had a really terrible putting week, and he's just set a new standard. I think everybody looks towards the Dustin Johnsons, the Rory McIlroys, and maybe the Justin Roses to lead the charge in these big tournaments. But it's been Koepka who's kind of elevated himself and even created some distance away from even that elite level just by his approach, his demeanor, his candor. I mean, it's not what we see in the modern era. Everybody's so measured in what they say and how they say it, but Brooks just tells you exactly what he thinks, and not always what the other players like to hear. But it certainly gives him, it demonstrates the confidence that he has in his game and how he has figured out a winning formula for these big tournaments.
I know that Koepka got upset with J.B. Holmes, his playing partner, taking forever. What can you do in a situation like that when you're supposed to get a certain amount of time and you have a rules official there who is supposed to put you on the clock at least? This isn't the first time J.B. Holmes has taken forever to hit a shot.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of acquired that reputation, and for good reason. He drops anchor out there and really goes through a meticulous process. But, I would hate for that to become something that other players try to do to Brooks to get him off his game. I think Brooks needs to sort of figure out a way to deal with slow play. Sometimes your challenges in professional golf come from loose swings or somebody screaming out something in the gallery or a bad break. And in this particular case, it's slow play. I mean, Rose was a little slow on Saturday, which might have caused some issue with Brooks, and JB was definitely a little bit slow yesterday. So that and the governing bodies haven't proven that they're able to enforce the slow play rules. And it's kind of this one of those things. It's a sort of ugly part of our game right now. And JB certainly can get slow. I mean, he's not always that way. I followed him on Saturday, and he was okay, but he kind of dropped the anchor a little bit on Sunday.
But can you say something as a playing partner, like, dude, let's go, hit it?
Yeah, you can, but it creates a little animosity or uncomfortable feeling. You certainly can, and players have. I mean, Rory Sabatini was really outspoken about Ben Crane's slow play, and even played literally a hole ahead of him. And it was just kind of a crazy scenario. But that doesn't always happen in our game, and everybody's pretty much gets along and tries to just focus on what they're doing and how they're doing it, and not get sucked into somebody else's playing speed or whatever. But it can have an adverse effect if you let it get to you.
Notah, safe travels back. Always appreciate your time. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Dan. Have a good one.
That's Notah Begay.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.